Can a pitcher who was nearly forgotten in Pittsburgh just 3 years ago truly become the secret weapon that propels Toronto into October glory? The baseball world loves a redemption story, and right now the Toronto Blue Jays are banking $30 million over 3 years that Cody Ponce's transformation from MLB castoff to KBO MVP isn't just smoke and mirrors. This isn't your typical reclamation project. This is a calculated gamble on a pitcher who didn't just survive in Korea, he absolutely dominated it. Let's rewind the tape to 2021. Cody Ponce was a forgettable name on a forgettable Pirates roster. A swingman going nowhere fast, watching his big league dreams evaporate with every mediocre outing. Fast forward to 2025, and the same pitcher just posted a jaw-dropping 17-1 record with a microscopic 1.89 ERA for the Hanwha Eagles, earning KBO MVP honors and triggering a bidding war among multiple North American franchises. What changed? Everything. The Blue Jays aren't signing the struggling Pirates reliever. They're acquiring a completely rebuilt pitcher whose arsenal has been weaponized to devastating effect. The fastball that once sat comfortably in the low 90s now explodes out of his hand at 97 miles per hour. That curveball? It's not just a breaking ball anymore. It's a legitimate swing and miss pitch that left KBO hitters flailing helplessly. And then there's the splitter, a pitch that fits perfectly into Toronto's organizational philosophy, and one that could make Ponce even more lethal against major league hitters. Skeptics will immediately point to the competition level. It's Korea, not the American League East, they'll say dismissively. But let's inject some perspective into this conversation. A 17-1 record doesn't happen by accident regardless of the league. A 1.89 ERA requires surgical precision, impeccable command, and the ability to consistently execute pitches under pressure. Ponce wasn't just beating inferior competition, he was annihilating it. He was so dominant that he became must-see television in Korea, a foreign import who transcended his status to become a legitimate superstar. The Blue Jays scouting department didn't make this decision lightly. They watched him. They studied him. They dissected every pitch, every sequence, every mechanical adjustment. What they saw was a pitcher who had unlocked something special, a combination of velocity increase, refined mechanics, and pitch mix diversity that translates across any league. Consider the recent history of pitchers who've made successful transitions from Asia back to MLB. The league is littered with success stories of arms that found themselves overseas and returned better than ever. The Jays are betting that Ponce follows that trajectory, and with $30 million on the line, they're confident in their evaluation. With Ponce now in the fold, Toronto's starting rotation has transformed from a question mark into a potential juggernaut. Let's break down this embarrassment of riches. Kevin Gausman remains the steady veteran presence, the would-be ace who will likely get the opening day nod. At 34, he's still pitching in his prime, though the clock is ticking with free agency looming after 2026. Dylan Cease represents the crown jewel acquisition. 7 years, $210 million worth of high-octane stuff that could legitimately anchor this rotation for the foreseeable future. His addition alone signals the Jays' championship ambitions. Shane Bieber, the former Cy Young winner who surprised everyone by activating his option to return, adds another elite arm. His decision to stay speaks volumes about the culture being built in Toronto and his belief that this team can win now. Trey Yesavage, the rookie sensation who electrified Rogers' center down the stretch and into October, brings youthful exuberance and a fearless mentality that you simply cannot teach. And now Cody Ponce, the wild card, the X-factor, the pitcher who could be anything from a reliable fifth starter to a legitimate mid-rotation force. But here's where the narrative gets complicated, even uncomfortable. What happens to Jose Berrios? The veteran who was Toronto's opening day starter in 2025 endured a nightmare season, inconsistent performance, nagging injuries, and ultimately the humiliation of being left off the postseason roster for all 3 playoff series. For a pitcher who had been the epitome of reliability for 4+ seasons, it was a devastating fall from grace. Reports now indicate the Blue Jays are willing to listen to trade proposals for Berrios. Translation: they're actively shopping him. The aggressive pursuit and acquisition of multiple starters isn't just about depth, it's about replacing a pitcher they no longer trust to deliver when it matters most. It's a harsh reality of professional sports. Loyalty only extends as far as production, and Berrios' 2025 collapse has fundamentally altered his standing within the organization. The question isn't whether the Jays have concerns about his ability to bounce back, it's whether they believe he can bounce back at all. Here's a delightful subplot that shouldn't be overlooked. Cody Ponce and Hyunjin Ryu became close friends while pitching together for the Hanwha Eagles. Ponce, who had admired Ryu during his Dodgers days, even showed up at the KBO All-Star Game wearing a Ryu number 99 Blue Jays jersey. Think about those conversations. Two pitchers, one a Korean legend who spent years thriving in Toronto, the other an American trying to resurrect his career, talking baseball, sharing stories, discussing life in Canada. You can bet Ryu painted a vivid picture of what it's like to pitch for the Blue Jays, the passionate fan base, the electric atmosphere at Rogers Center, the organization's commitment to winning. Did this friendship influence Ponce's decision to sign with Toronto? It's impossible to quantify, but it certainly didn't hurt. Sometimes the intangibles, the personal connections, the comfort level, the insider perspective, matter just as much as the dollars and years. The Blue Jays have now committed $240 million to starting pitching this offseason. That's not tinkering around the edges. That's a franchise declaring its intentions with unmistakable clarity. General Manager Ross Atkins is operating with urgency, and rightfully so. The 2025 season proved this core can compete at the highest level. The October run, while ultimately falling short, demonstrated that this team has the talent, the resilience, and the hunger to win a championship. But championship windows don't stay open forever. With Gausman approaching free agency, with Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s future still uncertain, with the American League East remaining a bloodbath of elite competition, the time to strike is now. Ponce represents another piece of the puzzle, affordable, high upside, and potentially transformative. The rotation is now set. The next priorities are crystal clear. Add an impact reliever to solidify the bullpen and acquire a prolific bat. Whether that's retaining Bo Bichette, extending Kyle Tucker, or making a splash in free agency to ensure the lineup can match the pitching staff's firepower. Every significant acquisition carries risk. Ponce could struggle with the transition back to MLB. The velocity might not play the same way against more disciplined hitters. The curveball that devastated KBO batters might get crushed by big leaguers who've seen breaking balls like that their entire lives. But here's the counterargument. At $10 million per year, this is a calculated risk worth taking. The Blue Jays aren't mortgaging their future or hamstringing their payroll flexibility. They're investing in a pitcher with legitimate upside, a proven track record of recent dominance, and an arsenal that fits their organizational philosophy. If Ponce delivers even 75% of what he showed in Korea, this deal will look like highway robbery. If he becomes a reliable mid-rotation starter who eats innings and keeps the team competitive in his starts, it's money well spent. And if he translates his KBO dominance into MLB success, the Blue Jays will have found a gem that other teams overlooked. The transformation from forgotten Pittsburgh reliever to KBO MVP to Toronto Blue Jay represents the kind of journey that makes baseball endlessly fascinating. Cody Ponce has already defied expectations once. The Blue Jays are betting he can do it again. As pitchers and catchers prepare to report to Dunedin in just a few weeks, the anticipation is building. This rotation, on paper, looks formidable. Now comes the hard part, proving it on the field, navigating the grueling 162-game season, and delivering when October arrives. The Blue Jays have made their statement. They've invested heavily in starting pitching, they've addressed their biggest weakness, and they've positioned themselves as legitimate contenders. Cody Ponce might not be the biggest name on the roster, but he could very well be the signing that makes all the difference. What do you think about the Blue Jays' aggressive offseason move? Is Cody Ponce the steal of free agency? Or are the Jays overpaying for KBO success that won't translate? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to smash that like button if you're as excited as we are about Toronto's championship potential in 2026.